kid, my father bought me a small microscopic kit, and I adored it. I would constantly cut pieces of everything to observe them. And so over the years, I've developed a hobby of finding sea creatures and taking them to my science teacher to dissect them in the school laboratory. Up until now, I have found 2 types of fish, a crab, sea snails, a couple of types of sea plants, and a jellyfish. I remember that one time in summer vacation when I found a dead jellyfish and took it home. So I dissected it with my kit in an attempt to find or learn anything about the body of the jellyfish. And as you can imagine, I came out with nothing except finding its mouth. And what happened after I found out that I was left with 4 sets of 5-minute videos of me cutting a transparent, empty jellyfish is a story for another time. But you see, the point is that my passion and love for this whole other world that we know so little about led me to find that it is suffering from our actions, from problems that we caused on this earth, from problems we caused on the starting point of life. You know, the evidence indicate that the beginning of life on earth was inside these oceans billions of years ago, before a human soul set foot on this wondrous planet. And as Allah said in Surah Al-Anbiya, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. But what's happening now with global warming is the rise in ocean temperature. This increase in ocean temperature has greatly affected marine life and marine ecosystems by continuously decreasing the oxygen supply in the oceans, which is also increasing the rate of dead zone formation. Dead zones are areas in large bodies of water with low oxygen that fail to support marine life. Now, these dead zones have created changes in the food web. Since organisms have different oxygen demand, some can live and thrive in dead zones, while others have to immigrate to different areas. And species that cannot travel are unable to travel, often experience worsening stress behavior and die. So this change in the ocean's ecosystem has also decreased biodiversity among affected species. Now, this affects microbial life a bit differently, causing aerobic microbes to shift the energy source from oxygen to nitrates, sulfite, or ferric iron. And since hydrogen sulfide being toxic and stressful to most organisms, it further increases extinction risks. And we rely on these marine creatures to sustain us either by trade or food, so the decrease in many creatures and the change in their location will greatly affect regional stock and coastal communities, especially in low-income developing countries. In fact, some countries have already started illegally overfishing certain areas, starving thousands that survived over the marine life that has been swept away. And with the decrease in species, things will only get worse, causing more conflict around the world. Sadly, it doesn't end there. Dead zones have not only started forming in various locations, but coral reefs have also been affected by ocean deoxygenation. And although that mostly depends on the severity and duration of it, it has caused more coral bleaching, leading to more coral reefs transforming into dead zones. Now, coral bleaching is the process when corals become white due to various stressors such as changes in temperature, light, or nutrients. This process occurs by the expulsion of the algae that lives inside their tissue, after the algae no longer provides them with food, turning the corals white, and this symbiosis is disturbed as a result of heat stress. However, although bleached coral is alive, it is prone to starvation and disease that is more easily spread in low oxygen areas, thus affecting biodiversity of a large-scale ecosystem. For corals are home to about 25% of marine organisms, and millions of humans depend on coral reef fisheries and their accessibility. And economies worldwide rely on fisheries and the trade of marine life, making deoxygenation in coral reefs even more concerning because they take years to be repaired. But not all hope is lost. I have read about several research being done to remedy the effects of global warming on the oceans, including research being done in KAUST by Professors Manuel and Rockwell on breeding resilience to make organisms and corals accommodate to the changes in the waters. Several other acts are being done to address different problems, like the O2 system created to clean the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is estimated to contain 100,000 tons of plastic. And this is done by the Ocean Cleanup, which was founded by Boyan Slat at the age of 18. Now, these researchers, engineers, and everyone who had a hand in making such progress happen has most likely been told to not bother, that they could not change such global problems, that they were too young or too old. But here we are today, discussing their persistence and success. So if you are a scientist, do the research, do the work. If you are not a researcher, then donate to the effective research facilities. If you don't have the ability to donate, then return to Earth the favor, decrease your carbon footprint, recycle, begin walking down the path of a plastic-free society, and never undermine the effect of a hard-working, determined individual. Thank you.